The United States economic system has a long history with discrimination. Slavery and Jim Crow-era policies devalued workers of color and made agricultural, domestic, and service vocations some of the lowest-paying jobs, with an overrepresentation of people of color. The New Deal of 1933 provided relief for thousands of white workers, but lawmakers made sure that far less people of color received benefits. As a result, many African American, Latinx, and Asian people became trapped in a cycle of poverty that persists today. And agricultural and domestic workers are some of the least protected employees with the least amount of benefits. Systemic racism also infiltrates the education system. Discrimination in education starts early. Black students make up 18% of all preschool students, yet they make up 50% of all preschool suspensions. There's also a phenomenon called the school-to-prison pipeline, where schools have become prone to call the police to handle matters with black students much more often than with white students, which channels black students from school straight into the criminal justice system. And due to the disproportionate way in which students of color are disciplined in school, there is a much higher dropout rate for Black, Latinx, and Native American students. Constant pushback against affirmative action, which is the principle that universities should try to actively expand its diversity, has kept people of color underrepresented on campuses. In addition, students of color on university campuses face racism from both faculty and other students that remains largely unchecked. Dealing with this can lead to mental health issues and a higher dropout rate. That school-to-prison pipeline mentioned earlier sends people of color into a criminal justice system that is rampant with discrimination. Racially biased policing means that marginalized neighborhoods are overly patrolled, and people of color are disproportionately stopped in vehicles and on the street. Black communities carry most of the burden from the war on drugs. Aggressive drug criminalization is aimed mostly at marginalized communities. As a result, there has been a mass incarceration of people of color for even the smallest drug crimes. All of this barely scratches the surface of the scope of systemic racism in the United States. The first step to fighting systemic racism is recognizing that it still exists and is a huge problem, and educating yourself about it. Some other things you can research to educate yourself about systemic racism include healthcare, redlining, immigration policies, and racial profiling. And remember, being informed leads to action.